Hey everybody, Shaun Stevenson here from Shaun Stevenson Books, the author of the Throne series. And have you ever had a major headache? Have you ever had a head start? Well, hopefully you weren't headless when that happened. Because in today's review, we're looking at Goosebumps book number 37, The Headless Ghost. This one, I actually asked my wife, because I will admit, I have not read a lot of Goosebumps books. I've seen a lot of the TV show episodes, I've seen the film that came out a few years ago, but I've not read a lot of the books. And so I asked my wife, I said, all right, pick a number between 1 and 50 something, because I only have up to 51, I believe, right now. I'm trying to collect the rest. But I said, pick a number between 1 and 51. And so she chose 37. So I pulled 37 out of the stack, and lo and behold, it was The Headless Ghost. Now this book, I loved this Goosebumps book. This was so much fun. It was a really, really quick read, as all Goosebumps books usually are. They take, usually maybe like an hour or so to read. But this one's premise was so great. Basically, you have a story where in this town, there is this old mansion that has tours. And so people go to the tours, and they're haunted tours. So they talk about the ghosts that live in the different rooms, and they tell people all about these stories of what's happened to the people that lived in the house once upon a time. And one of the stories is of a boy who lost his head while he was at the house when he met the ghost of an old caretaker. And so the two main kids in this story, they do not believe, that any of these things are actually real. They're like, well, that's just a fun story, but it's a great spooky story. And these two kids love to scare other people. It's one of their favorite things to do. They like to go and scare people. They play tricks and pranks on people. And so all night long, they usually sneak out of their house and they go and prank people, like throwing spiders, like fake spiders on someone in their room with the window open, or they, go and howl like a werewolf outside someone's room, things like that. And so these two kids decide to go back to the mansion to see, can they find a real ghost? And while they're there, they start to explore the mansion and find more than they bargained for. The Headless Ghost. Let's talk about this book, because I have got to say, sometimes Goosebumps books really hit on the atmosphere. They get this great setting and just background stories behind the setting that really amplify the whole story and amplify the scares. And I will say the Headless Ghost book has an absolutely incredible setting, especially at the beginning as they go through one of the tours and the tour guides are talking about all the different places in the house and the different scary things that have happened there and the things people have supposedly seen throughout history. It just set this up so well, because you're thinking, oh, those are some great stories. And you're wondering what's real, what's not. Is there going to be an actual ghost in this story, or is it all just tricks and make-believe? And so the two kids, when they decide to go sneak out of the tour and explore the rest of the house, it is some of the best eerie scenes of them just exploring this old house. They, creep up to the mansion's 3rd floor that's abandoned and people aren't allowed to be up there. And so they're looking around and spooky things are starting to happen. And I will say some of them are the typical jump scares that are the, there's the scratching at the door. What is it? Open the door. It's a cat. It's type of stuff. But there are some good, genuine, creepy moments throughout this book where I thought, oh, that's really well done. I really liked that. And it got me a little like, oh, that's so fun. I will say I never was totally spooked by this book or creeped out by this book, but I was thinking, oh, this is just a great, fun old story to read on like a dark, stormy night with maybe, low lights lit, maybe you're reading by a book light kind of thing. That's this kind of book. It's just fun to read, kind of in the vein, I would really say it's in the vein of books like Sleepy Hollow, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or, just those old Edgar Allan Poe kind of stories where there's a slow, foreboding atmosphere that has something lurking in the shadow. But what is it? You don't know until the moment it appears. And so this book had all of those kinds of things. As usual, the main characters in Goosebumps books are never really the focus of the story. I feel like you can flip characters in and out of these books, and it doesn't matter because the point of these stories is the plot, the mystery that is at play, what is going on, what is actually happening, as well as the spooky thing. So you have here, is there a headless ghost? And I will say there are some, like I said, some genuinely sort of creepy stuff that happens throughout this one. And the ending twist. Now, I've got to say, I kept thinking during this book that I had figured it out way ahead of time. I thought, oh, I know what it is. It's this. Obviously, that's what's going on. But R.L. Stine got me. He totally fooled me, and it was all in the details, which I loved. His details are so great because they don't feel like red herrings. They feel like genuine pieces of the plot. And then you find out the twist, and you're thinking, wait, everything I just thought is wrong. What's actually going on here? Now, I do have to say, the very, very end has a double twist. There's like a second twist to the very end of this book, and I don't know how I felt about it. I got to that very end and I thought, oh, wait, I think there's some logistical problems with that final twist. I think if you've read the book, you'll know what the final twist is. And I think there are some logistical problems with how it would actually work if that is what the case is. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if that works with the rest of the story. The rest of the book, 100% great, loved it, thought it was really well done. It's just that final chapter where R.L. Stine added on this secondary twist that I thought didn't quite work for me. It just logically doesn't make a lot of sense based on some of the earlier characters, and you're thinking, wait, so was that all a ruse all along? Like, how long has this been happening? Like, what's been going on here? So, all that to say, The Headless Ghost, on my scale, I give this a 4 stars out of 5. I thought this was a really fun Goosebumps book. It's not too scary, but it gives you the right kind of atmosphere that you're kind of looking for in a spooky story. But that ending does leave me a little bit with some to be desired. I wish the ending was tightened up just a tiny bit to fix some of those logistical problems. Otherwise, this is a great one to read. I highly recommend it. So, have you read The Headless Ghost? If you have, put it in the comments below. I'd love to find out what do you think of that final twist. If you do want to talk about the final twist, please put a spoiler warning on it, so that way people who have not read this book will be able to avoid your comment. Otherwise, I'd love to know what you think. Did that final twist make sense, or does it not make sense? Am I missing something? Maybe I am. It's possible. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Keep reading, everybody. Bye!